My name's Gracie. I am a junior here at KSU this year, and this is my second year here at NorthStar, and I'm very excited to see what the Lord has in store for this year. Honestly, when I first got here, I had this mindset that there were a lot of people at KSU that were not like me, that had different backgrounds, different lifestyles, different stories from me. So coming to KSU was kind of like almost like a mission field. Like the Lord gave me the opportunity to be able to reach out to people who maybe haven't had the same life as me. My mom had joined the parent Facebook page for KSU. I think it was like freshmen coming in. She saw that Abby Beth's mom had mentioned that her daughter was looking for a community of people. She was looking for a church. Then my mom actually messaged her and was like, my daughter has gotten really plugged in to WAVE. It's a college ministry at NorthStar, and she's loved it. She's met a lot of really cool people that way. Felt really encouraged by it, so I'd love to give you my daughter's information and maybe she can message Abby Beth. I just remember coming to KSU, I felt welcomed and included, and I felt like I could immediately get plugged in, so I knew I wanted to be that for somebody else. I wanted to be that person where she could feel welcomed. The next day I texted her and was like, hey Abby, I heard that you're looking for a community of people, you're looking for a new church, and I would love to introduce you to NorthStar and to WAVE, so I'd love to introduce you to some people and invite you to come if you're interested. And of course she was automatically interested. Then she told me that she lived on campus, and I was like, really? I do too. It was just so convenient. It just seemed like everything seemed to fall into place. To see what the Lord was doing in her life already, because it was like she immediately opened up to me about things that she was struggling with, things in her life that had happened and things that were happening currently in her life that she just felt weighed down because of. And it was really exciting for me because it was like she's sharing these things with me that she's struggling with, but I'm about to take her to hear the gospel and to hear about the good news and hear about how the Lord still loves her and still wants her and pursues her. So that was so cool to be able to experience that and see the Lord working in her life. I literally got to see it unfold right in front of me.
I was going through a really rough time in the fall of 2019, and I felt very alone. I've always been close to my family and friends. It's just that I felt kind of stuck, and I was thinking of taking my own life, but I felt God wrap his arms around me and he told me, you have a purpose, you have to live your life, and it's too early for you to go. For a minute I was like, wait a second, Gracie sounds familiar. It turns out Gracie was one of the girls that we were looking at, me and my roommate from last year, to maybe room with. So I was just texting her. I said, hey, I know you're part of this thing called WAVE. I want to be a part of it. How do I join? How do I get started? And she was really helpful because God really put her in my life at the right time, and he led her to me so that I could be a part of this community, and that's something I'll forever be grateful for. I can't even begin to explain the things that have happened to me since I let God become the center of my life. And God and I have always had a close relationship. I've always believed in Jesus. I've always been a Christian. I've always gone to church. I can't even begin to imagine what my life would be like without God and Jesus in it and in the center of my life. Elise and I became friends when we started working for kids with autism in September. It was a part of a group called Aaron's Hope for Friends. I actually didn't know that Elise didn't have a church background because she's always acted very loving, very sweet, and very supportive. So I knew that God was using her to be a positive person in this world, and he wanted her to trust in him so that she could spread that light to other people as a teacher and as a person volunteering. And if it wasn't for me talking to her, I think I would never have known that she didn't go to church.
So for me, I grew up in a home where God was not a part of our home. My parents aren't believers, and so following after God and after coming to church and things like that has been a really big change for me, because it was I was nervous to first tell my mom that I was going to church and hanging out with these people that go to church, because it was I didn't know how she was going to respond and how she was going to handle it. And so that's been something that's a little bit of interesting topic for me to talk with her about. I got invited by my friend Abby to come to church, and she texted me one day and she's like, hey girl, like there's this ministry that I've been going to, it's called Wave, it's like super fun, it's really chill, there's a lot of great people, I think you should come. She texted me on Saturday and I was like, sure, I'd love to, and then come Tuesday when Wave was, I was like, you know what, no, I don't really want to go, I'm not feeling good, I have a headache, and I just went home and I like spent time at home, but then it was like, I kept feeling this nagging feeling, I was like, okay, like, there's gotta be something to this. And then Abby texted me again and she's like, hey, Wave's again tonight, like, would you want to go? And I was like, you know what, yeah, I'll come tonight and I'll just see what it's like. So for me, it took about, I went to like 2 Wave services and then 1 like actual Sunday service, and that was kind of my moment where I was like, yeah, this is like what I really want to give my life to, because I just felt like I finally had a home, I had friends, and I finally felt like some of the emotional baggage that I'd been carrying from some past events that had happened to me is finally dropping. I was losing that weight, and I finally was like, yeah, this is something that I really am truly ready to give my life to, because like this is a place that I'm fully able to be myself and I don't have to hide who I am anymore. So back in February of 2020 was when I like fully gave my life over to Christ, and I feel like, once I gave my life over to Christ, like I've become more confident in myself, and I feel like I am more able to be who I was truly meant to be by God, and I feel like I am less anxious, because like even when I go into uncertain situations or uncertain times, like I know that I have God on my side and that I can always turn to Him and He's there for me. So that's something that's really changed, and also like my depression as well. I also at some point like thought about taking my life, and so it was those times where I used to think, oh, I just don't want to go through with it, but now that I look back on them, I'm like, no, that's God saying, hey, like trust in me, that like I have a reason for your life, and I have a reason for the things that you've gone through, like with my sexual assault and things like that. Like trust in me that like these things have happened for a reason, and so those were some really like big things that have changed, is that I feel more confident and more at ease and more like in control, because I know that even when I'm out of control, God is in control, and things like that sort of something that's been a big change for me.
I would say to anybody that feels the tug of the Lord on their heart to maybe reach out to somebody or to minister to someone or to invite somebody to church, don't be afraid of what people might think or what might happen, or maybe be afraid that you might not have the right words or have the right thing to say, but just be willing to let the Lord work through you, because in reality it's the Lord that changes people's hearts, it's not us. So if you're just obedient to the calling of sharing the gospel with people and inviting people to church and making them feel welcome, then the Lord will do the rest.